Hello everybody, I am Sarah Cray with Let's Make Art, and we do weekly watercolor tutorials. So every week we pick a project, we get together, we break it down really simple, so whether you're a beginner or just starting, which is the same thing, or coming back to it after a break, we're here for you, ready to paint with you.
If you've never done it, if you want to start, but
if you're new, if you haven't started, if you've never done it,
new place and haven't,
all of those things we take care of. This week we are doing Sunset Mountains. It's gorgeous, beautiful, lots of colors. And we have 5 colors today.
Wait, Sarah, is this the first time we painted Sunset Mountain?
Well, Al, you'll notice that my palette is, messy already. And that is because we already filmed this. Well, at least almost all of it. We got almost all the way done, and then Al realized that he never hit the record button. So here we are.
It was one time.
One time. He had one job, okay? I'm just saying. So we're starting all over again. I'm really excited to paint this again.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine, but you can never give me crap about messing up again. Okay, I'm going to start I'm going to use a plate to draw my circle. So this is just a circle composition that I use for painting sometimes. And we have an IKEA plate here. Now you're probably thinking that they sponsor us. Well, they don't. They should.
They should. We need your donations, IKEA.
IKEA, sponsor us. Okay, just make a little circle outline. And, let me do the colors. So the colors that we have here, we're starting from order of appearance. So our first one is Sunshine Yellow. It's our first color. Second color, Sunrise Pink. Third color is Moss Rose. Fourth color, Norway Blue. And our last color is black, and the brand we use is Dr. P.H. Martin. They're vibrant, they're bright, they're liquid, they're easy to work with. I love them. Okay. Now I'm going to draw in my mountainscape, or my 3 mountains, before I paint. Oh, let me go over the steps. Sorry, we have 5 steps to this project. Usually there's 4, this week there's 5. It's not a big deal. It's rather exciting. Okay, number 1, we're gonna put in our sky. So usually with landscapes, you kind of wanna work from your back to the front. So the first one is gonna be sky that we're gonna put in. I'll move this here so you can see. We have our sky. Second step is this top mountain. This mountain is going to be the lightest in value because it's farthest away from us. The third step is putting in this middle mountain here, which is going to be mid value. That's a term. And then this front mountain here is going to be our dark value. It's the closest mountain to us. And then our 5th step are the trees, which is where we almost got to before we had to start all over. It's okay.
It was going to be the best.
It was going to be the best. It's fine. I'm a professional. I can just do it again. Okay, so I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw in my mountainscape. Now you can make your mountains any size you want. If you want to just go off your reference photo that you have of this, if you have our kit or the subscription, you are more than welcome to. And I'm going to do my lines a little bit darker so you guys can see them well. But if you're doing this at home, try and make your lines as light as possible, and that way you won't have pencil marks in your painting. Because once water hits that graphite pencil mark, you can't erase it. So I'm going to put in my kind of mountains. There's ups, there's downs. It's a lot like life, you know?
It's like filming a tutorial.
It's like filming a tutorial. There are good moments, there are bad moments. Okay, second mountain, I'm gonna have it start kind of higher up on this side. It's gonna come back up, go back down, stop that there. And then I'm gonna put in my last mountain. Kind of coming in here, going across. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we are ready to paint. So I'm going to start off just using my sunshine yellow here. And I'm going to start at the very top of my painting. Put in that nice strong yellow color and then use some water and spread it out. Now you want to keep this color kind of going down. Spread that color out. And you can drop in more color. Now you want to work fast while it's still wet so it doesn't get kind of streaky. If the paper is wet, when you put the color down and you work it back and forth, then you're more likely to get kind of an even wash. So nice strong color. I'm just going to kind of wet all of this area. Because then when you drop in your sky, it kind of is just going to spread and kind of blend out evenly. That's always a good idea for a sky. Okay, and then I'm going to mix a little bit of my sunrise pink with my sunshine yellow, and I'm going to get this like really pretty orange, and I'm going to start putting that in kind of in the middle of the sky. Have it go up a little bit. I'm not going to have it go all the way to the top because I want that top part to be that nice bright strong yellow. Okay, and then using that same sunrise pink but without any color mixture in it, it's just pure sunrise pink. I'm just going to do a couple areas where I just kind of drop it in. And you see how it's kind of naturally kind of blending out, spreading out. I'm going to help it just a little bit, but a couple of those textures I'm going to keep. So along this top part here, I'm not going to mess with that too much. This is your painting, so if you like those, then, you know, go crazy with them. If you don't like them, blend them out. It's not a problem. Okay, and then I have my moss rose here. I'm going to mix a little Norway with it to get this really nice purple. So I'm going to introduce kind of the moss rose here at the bottom. And if you want like a really strong drop of color here and there, that's fine too. Sunsets have just really crazy colors. There are areas that are super bright, some that are a little bit soft and subtle. Just kind of have fun with it. Now I'm going to add some purple here, this purple that I mixed. Now something you want to keep in mind here is I'm just going to do the purple in like the lower sections of the sky. I don't want to outline the mountains in the purple, because if I outline those mountains with the purple, then the sky is not going to give the illusion that it continues on in space forever. It would seem like was just sitting right on top of the mountains. So just keep that in mind when you're doing a sky and then putting something in front of it. You want to almost imagine that the sky is independent from the mountains. So if we outline this in purple, then that's not staying true to the sky being independent from it. We just want to say, like, yes, we know it gets more purpley as it goes down, but because the mountains are blocking our view, we're not going to see that all the way across. We're just going to see kind of hints of it.
Gotta stay true to your sky.
Stay true to the sky. Stay true to you, you know? Be like the sky. Be independent from mountains. Look at this great advice I'm giving people.
I feel like this is high school.
This is high school?
If I just watched your tutorials, Sarah, this is
All that therapy you're paying for now, don't need it. Just tune in here. Okay, I'm gonna...
art therapy. Sarah.
That's what we should name it. Okay, I just did a little extra thing of moss rose here. Now you want to blend it up a little bit so it's a more natural transition. However, we don't want to blend up too much because then it's going to get this kind of yellow-orange thing that we have going on way too muddy. So just kind of blend up a little bit, put colors back in here, but don't don't kind of go up and down on this because we're going to lose those areas of color that we already created. Just like that. Okay. Do another touch here and blend that out. Now, when I blend it out, I just take my damp brush and kind of just move it back and forth. Okay, so that was it for step 1. And then step 2, we're going to put in our top mountain. Now, one thing that you just want to be aware of before you put this in is you want to make sure that your sky is completely dry before you put in your mountain. If I try to go with my blue right now and kind of hit these lines, then it's going to hit this wet water that's already here, and it's just going to bleed out, and I'll lose my strong mountain line that I want. Don't do that. So just take a couple minutes, let it dry, make sure it's dry, and when you go in to do your top mountain, what you want to do is, I'm going to mix a little bit of the black with the Norway right here, and then you're just going to add water to it to make it lighter. So you can have that ready and mixed to go while we're waiting. I'm going to wait. We're back. Did you press the record button?
We don't press it.
I don't believe you. Okay.
You know nothing, Johnston.
We're back. We finished step 1 with the sky. Now we're going to move on to step 2, which is our top mountain. And it's going to be our lightest mountain. So I'm going to get my color. And I'm just going to start placing it. Now we want, let me move so the camera can see. Now we want to make sure that it's more of an even value. We don't want like strong streaks or watercolor textures. So sometimes it's easier to create an even wash if you just like add a bunch of water. And then you drop in paint. This technique is known as wet on wet. It's an actual term, Al. Believe me.
It's known as water and then paint in the water.
No, it's known as wet on wet.
Agree to disagree.
That was a joke. You were supposed to laugh at that and then you didn't. It made me sound kind of mean. Okay, so I'm kind of adding color, letting it kind of blend out naturally into these water spaces. Now, if there is any sort of value change in your mountains, because I do have some slight ones on my mountains, is the top is a little bit darker, and then as it goes down, it kind of lightens up.
It was a joke, you better laugh.
I'm funny. Okay. So just kind of, and you'll notice here, I don't know if I spoke on this because this is our second time recording, but I have tape here on the top and the bottom, and that is because, as you can see, we're using a lot of water. And so when you use a lot of water on this type of paper, it's gonna wanna bend and it's gonna wanna buckle. So just so I know that things are staying in its place as I go, I taped the top and bottom down. So it's gonna pop up just a little, but not enough to kind of disrupt my painting. If you are interested in doing lots of heavy watercolor paintings, then you're gonna wanna get like the Arches watercolor paper. It's a little bit thicker. It can handle the weight of the water.
It's just water weight.
It's just water weight. Not a big deal. Okay, I'm gonna go through one more time, just a little stronger color, just kind of on the top parts. Now I don't want like a strong outline on your mountains. So if you do add some color, try and blend it out just a little bit, but we basically just don't want this huge kind of outline. If we outline something in a painting, it is going to flatten it. gonna try and make it as even as you can. I have a lighter spot right there.
I feel like that's pretty outlining.
Well, it's darker, but the outline that you're seeing is the purple from the sky. Now, here, let me show you what I'm talking about. We don't want to see this.
Whoa, yeah.
That's outlining.
Okay.
So if that is happening to you accidentally, just kind of pick up that paint that you just laid down with your paintbrush. Pick it up, drop it, dry it off on your paper towel. I still have a little bit of color there, but it's not too bad. It's not that thick outline. I like how you called me out. You're like, that's outlining. No, Al. It's not.
Once you paint one of these, you come into my house.
When you paint this, you can give me your feedback, okay?
When you paint anything.
When you paint anything, especially on camera, you can let me know your notes. Okay, now we're just gonna let this baby dry before we move on to mountain number 2, which is our middle mountain. Welcome back. We just completed step 2, which was our top mountain in our lightest value. Now we're moving on to step 3, which is our middle mountain.
Why are you talking like that?
What am I talking
Like
about?
a robot.
Am I? This is how I talk. This is how I talk, Al. Okay, no. Okay, I'm gonna just add a little bit more color to my mixture here so it's a darker value. Now we don't want it to be too dark. We don't want it to be crazy because this last mountain that we're doing has to be darker than this one we're doing now. So don't go crazy on your dark colors here. Just when you put it in, you'll see if it's like a darker color right away or not. If you put it in and it's the same color as your first mountain, just pick up some more paint when you go. Okay, and I'm just gonna take some water and kind of fill up this spot just with my water. And then I'm gonna drop in the color and it should just kind of even out. But you want to do it quick because if this dries before you drop in your color, then it's not going to spread out. So this right here, this is outlining. We don't want that, so I'm just going to blend that out. And if you don't have, if your paper, mine's taped down to the table for this one, but if you don't have it taped down to the table, you could actually take your paper and with an area that's still wet, you can kind of move it back and forth, like up and down, back and forth, and then that pigment is just going to spread out across the wet area that you have there. So keep that in mind. It's really handy if you're doing like a large sky to kind of like, you know, pick it up and move it around so it just kind of moves and blends. Okay, so I filled in my middle mountain. I have a darker value here, and then when this dries, I'm gonna go in and put in my last value, which is my bottom mountain, which is step 4. We're here, we're at step 4, we're almost done. You guys are doing great, I'm sure of it. Now, we're gonna do our, I'm trying not to talk like a robot because I was talking like a robot. Now we're gonna do our bottom mountain, which is gonna be our darkest value. So I'm picking up tons of paint on my paintbrush. Lots and lots of paint. And then I'm just gonna start filling that in. Now our top mountain here is gonna be a little bit more bumpy. It's gonna have a little bit more like things kind of coming out of it because it's closest to us, so we can see like shrubbery better or rocks better. It's clearer that it's more bumpy. Clearer that it's more bumpy. Is that a thing?
So much shrubbery.
Yeah. See, maybe we have like a little tree or something. I don't know, you know? It's your mountain.
That's step 5.
It's your mountain, it's your life. Ups and downs, ins and outs. But in the end, it just makes a beautiful painting.
Love so.
Okay, and we can let it get a little bit lighter in value as we go down, but we don't want it to get like as light as this. We want it to stay still pretty dark. So just kind of follow your circle, your little line. And then I'm just going to kind of even this out a little bit. Let's go even darker over here. If you want to make it darker, you just do another layer right on top, using a bit more pigment. By pigment, I mean paint. If you want to make something lighter, like let's say you put this down and it's almost like straight black, you can just lift out the color. I think I already demoed that, right? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did. Thanks, Al. Okay. That's it. That's it for our step 4, which is we put in our bottom mountain. It's darkest in value, which is closest to us. And then we're gonna let that dry, give it a couple minutes, and then we're gonna move on to our trees, which is our last step. All right, it's been a couple minutes. Should be dry. I was about to ask if you were recording again. I'm not gonna do that to him anymore. It's fine. Music.
Burn through the ditches and burn through the witches and burn.
What is that?
It's Rob Zombie.
That was really amazing. I hope you leave that in. That was so funny. Okay. We are on our final step, you guys. Foghorn. Bye. We're gonna put in these trees, okay? We're gonna put in some pine trees.
I like that. The sound effects board. Monkey dance.
I think it's great. I think people would really enjoy it. Okay, we're gonna put in our trees. This is step 5. This is our final step. So when you put in your trees, we're gonna start by putting in our trunk, and then we're gonna add our leaves. Now, if you've done some of our other tutorials, we've done the same kind of trees, but these ones are bigger. So it's the same idea, just a lot bigger. So I'm gonna start with my first tree. I'm gonna have it slightly off-centered. You do not wanna put a tree directly in the middle of your painting. It's gonna make it look weird. It's gonna throw the composition off. Don't do it.
I've always believed not in the middle.
Not right in the middle. Go off to the side. Okay, so I'm gonna make my stem. I switched to my round 2 because I can get a nice thin line with that. And I'm just gonna kind of start from the bottom and kind of go
Is it just
up.
black?
It's just black.
Okay.
Good question, Al.
Thank you.
It is just black. Okay, so I'm gonna start slightly to the right, and I'm gonna have it go this tree is going to be taller than my last mountain. If you miss a couple of lines, that's okay. If you want to try and get a nice thin line just like that. You can see here my line got a little crooked and I missed this section. That's not a big deal because we're adding like leaves to this and branches, and we can hide that easy. So when you add your branches, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your tree takes a triangle shape. So you want it to be more narrow at the top, and then as you go down, your branches are going to get longer, so it's going to make your tree a little bit wider. So I'm going to add my branches here, and a good way to kind of just start putting them in is just do horizontal lines kind of going across your page here. Have one go out this way, I'm going to have one go in front, one more to the left, just like that. Just kind of put them here and there. Does this look funky? Yes. It's a process. It's okay. Hang with me. It will be fine.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Trust the trees. Okay, so I put in my branches and now I'm going to add my leaves. And what I like to do is I'm going to just use black, and I'm going to use kind of the side of my brush to make dashes. And I'm just going to kind of follow my branches that I already laid out here. Now you can do a couple on the trunk themselves, and as I get to the top here, I'm just going to do a couple just little ones, so it's like, oh, there's barely, you know, on the tops of trees, they're like barely little there. We're going to do that. So kind of use the side of your brush, just do kind of dashes. Kind of go across a little bit. But a lot of it, it's just these dash marks that kind of like overlay on top of each other a little bit. And for me personally, I like to follow my trunk as I go down, doing dash marks on top of it as I go. You can leave yours like a thin line here and there, just peeking through. And then, so as you go down, your branches are going to go out wider, and your dashes themselves are going to get like thicker. So just press a little bit harder with your brush to get these nice thick lines here. Now what you might be tempted to do, and what we don't want to do, is we don't want just these kind of horizontal things that have dashes on them that don't connect. Once in a while, let these dashes kind of like touch one another. It's one tree. They're all friends. They like to talk, you know.
What?
The leaves are friends. They're talking, they're touching, they're being friendly. They're not their own separate section. Al, it makes sense, okay? It works.
Trust the process.
Trust the trees, trust me. So I'm just kind of making my way down, doing my dashes, letting them get a little bit bigger. Filling some areas in. Now, I don't want all of them to be, I caught myself doing this, which is why I'm telling you, is I don't want them all to be kind of splayed like that. Like some of them, you can have them kind of go up and down or in different directions, because leaves themselves or little parts on trees go everywhere. It's not just a single direction type of thing. So, and you can see where my gap was on my tree line, that's now gone. We kind of covered that up with leaves. It's not a big deal. I'm just kind of going out, doing little ones on the edges here. Okay, we put in our first tree. Now we're just going to kind of repeat that process a couple of times it looks like I have 4 trees in this one, but you can do as many trees as you want. I'm going to do another one right to the right. And this one is going to be a little bit shorter. So my first tree was my tallest tree, but it's your own painting. It's your own life. If you wanted to make this one bigger, go for it. And try and lighten it up. The only thing that I would kind of suggest is try not to have it, and I did it pretty close on this one, but we don't want the top of the tree to line up with exactly with this line. I don't know if there's anything actually technical about that. It might just be a pet peeve of mine. I don't know. But I try not to like have things line up like perfectly. We want a little bit of space. And then I'm going to put in my branches. So I'm going to have one here, here, front. And then as I get down, they're going to get a little bit wider. And there are lots of different types of trees. There are some trees that are, you know, kind of barren.
This one's a dead tree.
No, but some of them are a little like, you know, hello. I don't have a lot of leaves, but I got a lot of love. I was waiting for him to say, what? He didn't say that. Okay, when you get to the edge of your branch, you can kind of thin out those little marks. So they're almost just like little like dashes because they're kind of like going away from us a little bit. I'm going to connect and do a couple in my middle trunk here so it's not just like a perfect straight line going through everything. And then it's going to run into the other tree, and that's what we kind of want. We kind of want them to overlap a little bit because trees aren't perfectly spaced to where they're like not touching and right next to each other. In nature, they overlap. The ones that are farther away, you're going to see right behind it. Okay, and I'm going to do another tree right next to this one here. And I'm not going to have it go as high. Now I know I said not to do a tree directly in the middle, and I guess what I meant by that is don't do your main tree directly in the middle. I would say this one's my main tree because it's my tallest tree, and this is kind of more of like an accent tree.
So you're backpedaling away so fast.
I just realized that was confusing because I did a tree in the middle.
Don't ever do this.
Don't ever do this, and then do it 3 minutes later. Okay, you can add your little...
What I meant was
add your branches. And another thing that you can do for your branches, for your leaves, if you're having a hard time with the dash marks, is you can go along these lines and kind of like swoop down from there a little bit, if that's easier for you to follow. Just kind of make sure they kind of thin out at the end. And I'm still just using my black paint. If you want your things to feel a little bit more full, then connect these separate branches that you've made. So I'm kind of using the side of my brush to kind of swoop. But you'll notice how all of my trees, they're narrow at the top and then they widen out. And it ran into my other tree, which is exactly what I want. We want them to run into each other. And I'm gonna do one more little tree right here, just poking up. So this is more on the left-hand side. Just gonna go barely above that peak there. I started going before I put in my branches. I got excited. If the branches, if that's not super helpful for you, then you don't have to put those in. They're just kind of a good reminder that we want to go a little bit wider. And this one I want to be a little bit more full, so I'm using the side of my brush to get some nice thick dash marks here. So it feels nice, like there's lots of leaves on there. And continue it all the way to the bottom of your painting. Just like that. We did it, you guys. That's it. We did it. I'm gonna untape this if I can, so you can kind of see what it will look like. Voila! Looks great. And I just complimented my own painting. That's okay to do. So if you painted this, share it. I would love to see it. Your friends would love to see it. I bet you anything somebody would get excited if they knew that you painted. So go ahead and put it on Instagram. If you do, tag us in it. Our Instagram name is Let's Go Make Art. And we do have kits for this. So if you're interested in trying this out, but you don't want to buy all of the supplies and paints, we have one-off kits that you can get on our website at letsmakeart.com. Or if you just kind of want to make it easier on both of us, we have a subscription box. So you get everything you need for the month right there in the box delivered to you. And every week we can get together and paint this. So hopefully now that you've seen the tutorial, you are ready to create, paint, and share. Thank you so much. Hey Siri, Google Oompa Loompa Tuba. It says Loompa
My
Loompa.
web search turned something up for Loompa Loompa Tuba. Have a look.
No, Oompa Loompa Tuba. That's it.